Choose a new way to see. No more counting calories, just living free. Robert Ferguson's got the plan you need. With diet-free life, it's the key. No more starving, getting rid of inflammation. Choosing healthy choices, providing you with sound information. Bringing balance to hormones and insulin through food. With DFL, teaching you food choices to see it through. DFL, we're teaching you to eat food right. Teaching you to pair food with each bite. Balancing our body's microbiome, feels so right. With diet-free life, the health futures lose by.
What's up, everybody? This is yours truly, Mr. Roberto Lorenzo Ferguson, Robert Ferguson. And I want to say happy Valentine's Day to all of you beautiful people. And I hope you are thriving. Now, you see up on the screen the 8-week fat loss challenge. I'm in it. I'm enjoying it. I'm running with it. I'm having a blast. Woo! Very thankful for the challenge. And I just want to say thank you to all of you who are participating and all of you who will maybe join us this Monday, because, you know, Monday's a good time to start. And so I just want to say thank you, because all of you have been encouraging to me. And all of my fitness goals are all coming back into alignment. I don't have any injuries. I mean, it's great. It is great. And for those of you who are on the fence and you want to lose weight, you want to lean out, you want to get healthier, I want to encourage you to reach out. Go to the website, dietfreelife.com. You can learn more about it. Email me if you have questions, but we would love to have you. Now, today, I'm going to be joined by a nutritionist, health, and weight loss coach, a very dear friend of mine as well, Miss Amy Prime. And we're just going to talk. But the one thing that I wanted to talk about to kick things off is statins. You know, statins that people are taking to lower their cholesterol. So I wrote an article. I strongly encourage you to read the article, print the article, and take it to your doctor. Have your doctor read it if you're thinking about taking a statin to lower your cholesterol, or you're currently taking a statin. I am no fan of statins. And the evidence is not clear. It's never been clear. But people are making a lot of money getting you on statins. And it's really sad. It's sad that people are taking statins and they're just believing that it's good for them, that it would help them, that it could reduce the risk of maybe having a heart attack or a stroke. And if someone's had a stroke or a heart attack, or they've had, like, you know, some frightening moments, then they're like, I'm going to take it. And one of the things that I highlight in the article, and I've talked about this over the years, is knowing the difference between relative risk reduction and absolute risk reduction. See, the marketing for statins in lowering one's risk of heart attack or stroke is often based or framed around relative risk, which will appear to be much higher. But in reality, it may be less than 1% reduced risk of stroke and heart attack. And when you weigh the risks with the side effects, I don't know many people that would take a statin knowing that they can reduce the risk of stroke and heart attack by less than 1%, but yet be faced with all of these scary side effects. And the fact that people who have lower cholesterol don't live as long. So there you have it. Let me bring on Amy. What's up, Amy?
Hello, Robert. Happy Valentine's Day. I'm good. How are you?
I am good, and happy Valentine's Day back to you. And
thank you.
As you can hear me, I was talking about statins, And I don't know how much you know about statins. I mean, I know you know about them, but like I've done a lot of deep dives in statins, and I've looked at the history of statins, and I've seen how the medical world has changed. And I know quite a few people that are really smart people in life, people that I respect, but yet they take a statin. And when I reach out to them, Amy, and I say, you know, if I were you, man, I would get off that statin. They look at me like, I'm not getting off of it. I'm good.
Mm-hmm.
My doctor put me on it. And they don't even want to hear anything other than what they think they know about statins.
Right. Right. Well, it's interesting that we're talking about this because we didn't discuss what we're going to talk about. Definitely not, you know, the statins. And it's really funny because I recently have been doing research on my own on statins, and I'm finding it extremely interesting. So I know what you have taught us through all of our trainings, but, you know, trying to widen my knowledge on it too. So I'm excited that we're actually talking about this today.
Yeah,
And what we can do to prevent to not even go on statins, or I know we can get off of them too. So people that are on them, just know that you can get off of them.
Well, number one, I would say this out loud, and not one doctor would push back on what I'm saying. They just get quiet, because here's the reality. There's no concrete evidence that proves without question that lowering one's LDL cholesterol is beneficial. Now, to a lot of people, they go, well, that sounds kind of like conspiracy. Like, where are you getting this information? I go, the same place where a lot of doctors get their information. But they're indoctrinated, and they just do what is part of their practice has them set up to do. And it's up to us as individuals to be informed. And I'm not alone, right? So here's a book called Blind Spots by a Harvard doctor named Marty McCary. Here's his book. He's in full agreement with what I'm saying. Okay, that's one. I read that. It was decent, quick read. And this one, here's another one endorsed by a real popular physician named Dr. Jason Fung. But this is Robert Lufkin. And he was a professor. He's a doctor, but he also taught doctors, or taught people to become doctors. And the title of his book is Lies I Taught in Medical School. Lies I taught in medical school. So he's in full agreement with me also. And then when you look at the history, that's why when you read the article, they're all in full. I mean, I reference everything. So why would a person still take a statin when the evidence is clear that the only thing that is really doing for them, and it's proven in the Framingham study, which a lot of the beliefs that statins were needed, where that comes from, is that people who have lower cholesterol die earlier than people with high cholesterol.
Yep, isn't that interesting?
Think about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes you really want to jump and get on it, doesn't it?
I mean, poor people, man. But I get it, right? So if you think about it, let's say that you're my client and you're on a statin, and then I share with you how that's probably not helping you. And I'm not a doctor, right? So you're like, well, why would I want to believe you when I have my doctor? I said, look, here's a doctor who's agreeing with me. The studies are there. That's why we wrote an article. It's all referenced. You can go check it up. AI can make life easier for you to check it up. And you could ask your doctor, you say, hey, doc, can you show me concrete scientific evidence that proves that taking this statin is going to reduce my absolute risk of having a heart attack or stroke? And the doctor's not ready for that, Amy.
No.
Because they won't have answers.
No.
So, And you know,
No.
like with what we have in this product called balance oil, if you just look at the test, in part of the test, right, they're looking at the cell membrane, which is available to everybody who's listening to us. Everybody can get this test. And the test tells you everything. Like, well, not everything, but it tells you a lot, to include arachidonic acid,
Mhm.
which to me is a more important biomarker to look at compared to cholesterol, and having an idea or a precursor to the likelihood of you having a stroke or a heart attack.
Mhm. Absolutely. Which that that there is also showing for the blood clotting.
Yeah, it's a precursor, it's a predictor,
Mhm.
right? So you're talking inflammation. And
Mhm.
that's why, you know, the balance oil and the tests are king. You know, it's something I think about every day, all day, because people are in need of it. And
Right.
I believe that it's to everyone's benefit to not just look at just cholesterol as a warning or something to look at to identify whether or not I'm healthy or not, but to look at all parts of health,
Mhm.
which would include the omega-6 to 3 ratios. You agree?
Mhm. I totally agree. Totally agree. But that's never mentioned when you go to the doctor.
No, it's not. It's just not part of.
It's
It's just
not part
not
of
part
it.
of how they. It's just not standardized,
Right.
right? And a lot of things. If you just sat back and said, okay, well, why is that? Well, a lot of it has to do with what will be covered by the insurance companies. So if you follow the
Sure.
money, you quickly can see what's standardized, what's not. And a
Sure.
big part of what's standardized also ties into the pharmaceutical industry.
Mhm. But I feel that there's hope that that will be part of the insurance. Hopefully, that they will approve of that.
Uh,
Basing that on look at now how often we see the insulin, your fasting insulin. That never used to be a real common, involved in the blood test. Now it's getting to be more common. Would you agree with that?
I see it more.
More
It's not
often.
standardized, but
Right.
you know, and depending on what state a person lives in, they can just go directly to a lab work, and like Quest or something, and ask to have that fasting insulin done, which on
Sure.
average costs about $15 to $25. And once you have the fasting insulin done, now you know. And
Hmm.
that's why they would come to you or they would come to me, because we could help them understand why that's important to know, right?
Hmm. Right.
But so that's where my head was at a place, Amy, this morning. I'm looking at statins. I was thinking about cholesterol. The other day, I did a live with Susie, and we talked about HDL cholesterol, which is considered the good cholesterol.
Right.
And in our conversation, we talked about how, like, I went back and I looked at 34 of my clients who've been taking the balance oil, and I looked at their lab work before balance oil, and I only looked at their HDL cholesterol, the good cholesterol. And then I looked at the clients who had been taking the balance oil for at least 4 months, and then had new lab work done. And I looked at their HDL. So as I'm writing it down, I got their old HDL, I got their new HDL. And then
Right.
on average, we saw the HDL, the good cholesterol, go up 8 points, which is over the top significant. That's a positive,
Wow.
positive, 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 positive.
Absolutely.
And I looked at Susie's, and Susie's, we had her lab work going back actually about 15 years. And she averaged 46 on her HDL cholesterol. And after getting on the balance oil, she's now at 62.
Wow.
Now, you and I are like, wow. The average person who doesn't understand numbers is like, yeah, I'm not. And everybody out there who's listening, if you can increase your HDL, okay, and everybody's different, but 2 points, that would be considered extremely good.
That's a big deal.
So
that's a big deal.
So what doctor wouldn't want to recommend balance oil, knowing, just looking at HDL, not looking at lowering triglycerides, not looking at lowering inflammation in the body, not looking at like hair and hair growth and skin better and nails better, like cutting down inflammation, becoming more insulin sensitive. What doctor, Amy, would not want to recommend balance oil?
Exactly. I know exactly what you're saying, but
no, I'm asking you. It's a question from me to you. What kind of doctor would not recommend something that is showing proof again and again and again and again and again and again that it increases HDL?
A very uninformed doctor, closed-minded doctor. That's what I truly believe. They're not informed.
Okay. Well, once you show them the data, do you think
if they're willing to look at it?
Right. And a lot of people don't want to look at things. Like
Correct.
My friends who take statins for their cholesterol, I could write an article on statins and they won't read it.
Exactly. So I actually, I've shared this with you before. I print out your articles, and I actually shared with a client the cholesterol one, and it was quite interesting. She was very intrigued on it. She also takes the balance oil and is really impressed. But she was just asking me some questions, so I gave her a copy of it, and her words were, after she read it, she went home and read it, and then she sent me a text and she said, "This is something that we need to give to all of our doctors." And I said, absolutely.
Wow.
So yeah, so I mean, if people are willing to do that, and we can get the word out there and give them the knowledge, hopefully we can get things to change.
Yeah, I mean, you would think so, but then again, people just don't, want to change. I mean, like look at, Robert Kennedy, who is now the new secretary for the Department of Health and Human Services. Now, I'm excited about it.
I'm excited.
But there's a lot of people who are they are hating on this man. Think he is the worst thing in the world. I was watching The View, or it was a clip that someone was sharing, which I don't understand how anyone would watch that show.
I agree.
I mean, it's just all they do is just hate. Every day is just
negative.
Maybe they do talk about others. I don't watch it, so I don't know. But every time I see a clip, all they do is hate on Trump.
Yes.
And hate on anyone that is associated with Donald Trump.
It's a very negative show.
Oh my! I mean, it's amazing that it's on TV.
Yeah, I'm like you. I don't watch it. I won't waste my time watching it. But it's the few clips I do see. There's nothing positive about that show.
Right. So, and the only reason why I'm bringing up that show is because when you have shows like that and people allow, and they watch those kind of things and they hear those things, then they may not completely be in a position to look at life differently. Right. Like,
I agree.
I believe we learned something during the pandemic. I mean, I'm happy with the decisions I made. Most of my friends who got, they got the jab, now say that they would do things differently if it were to happen again. I think we lost a lot of people, unfortunately, that didn't know any better. I just think it was a really sad thing. And when I look at statins, or when I look at, say, the balance oil, how helpful it can be for someone, or the importance of omega-6 to 3 ratios, and the average person has no clue of what you and I are talking about, my heart goes out to everyone who just is not informed.
Yep. Mine too.
Yeah.
Mine too. Definitely. Definitely.
Like everyone would benefit from knowing their omega-6 to omega-3 ratios.
Hmm. Right.
Now you're updated. Didn't you send in your test again?
Yes. Yep.
So
I've taken a total of 3 tests, and each one has improved. I was
okay.
way off balance, extremely off balance. So I'm still
So
not in the green.
when is your next one coming, Amy?
Um,
Do you have one that you're
Probably.
waiting on? Do you have one that
No, I'm
you're
not
waiting?
waiting on one. I'm not waiting on one, but I will do another one in about a month.
Hmm.
And I'm excited to do it because I'm pretty certain I'm going to be in the green. So
Now,
those of you that don't know, it comes color coded. So red, you're obviously in the danger zone. I tell people kind of look at it as like a stoplight, red, yellow, and green. So red, you're definitely going to stop and you're going to make changes. The balance oil definitely is a huge change. That's definitely what's helped me. And then get to the yellow and then green, things are going good. So I started out and I was in the, I think everything was in the red. Maybe I had one yellow, but I was definitely in the red. And then my second test was all yellow. And then the third one was there was some green, but I still had some yellow. So still room for improvement, but it works. So
now, do you remember what your ratio was? The last one?
the last one was, I can look really quick.
Yeah, I mean, if you remembered, I was just curious.
It was like I started out, I was 36.1, and then it went down to, and don't quote me on this because I really don't remember, but it was below 10. And then my last one that I took, I am very close. The 6-to-3 ratio, I'm very close to being down to 3. So I'm very, very close.
Now, at this moment, are you like how much are you taking a day?
2.5 teaspoons a day.
Okay. Now, see, because you work out, I would say bump it up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
To how much?
Well, you know how you can get like a regular 300 milliliter bottle,
Yes.
the regular size bottle,
Yep.
and then they have that little one.
Yep.
I would buy the little one every month, unless you have some, because then you could do at least a tablespoon a day.
Okay.
I
On
would do
top
it.
of that.
No, I
Or
never said on top.
total
Yeah,
tablespoon. Okay, gotcha.
because if you do a tablespoon, one bottle won't last you a month.
Okay.
You'll run out, so you'll need a little bit more.
Okay.
And and some people are like, well, why? Why? Because she works out a lot. So when you work out a lot, everyone, your body burns up those omega-3s much faster than someone who doesn't work out.
Who doesn't work out?
Yeah, so people who don't work out hardly at all, they tend to get into the green, as you mentioned, the safe zone, much faster than people who work out a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So people who work out a lot would benefit from actually increasing their intake a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And the only other thing, if this worked for you, is to do it before you go to bed.
Okay.
Right? Because
And
let's say you wake up in the morning and you take it, and then you go work out. So what you eat now gets into your bloodstream and is circulating, so it may not get to the cell membrane because you're working out and you're burning up that fat that's floating around in your body. But if you do it right before bed, then it puts you in a position where you're not running, you're not walking, you're moving into rest. And so it has nothing interfering with it getting into your cells and getting into your tissues.
it has a better chance of being absorbed.
Yes.
So now I got to change my routine.
Well, I mean, it's something that you could do. Like, so for
Yeah,
me,
I will definitely. That makes sense. I mean, that totally makes sense.
yeah, like I want to do it at night, and I've attempted to do it at night, and I notice that I miss doing it when I do it at night. So I'm back at doing it first thing in the morning because I don't miss that.
See, that's how it's definitely, it's part of my morning routine.
Mm-hmm.
But I can leave notes all over the bathroom mirror. Because yeah, I mean, that makes sense that it would definitely be absorbed better at night.
Yeah.
So, um, so I have some questions that I've been asked, and I'd just like to see your response to them. When you start the balance oil, because I get asked this a lot, um, and I'll tell you my response, but I would like to hear your response first. So I'm going to say I'm the person, you're selling it to me, and I ask you now, is this something that I need to talk to my doctor? Actually, I think I am going to talk to my doctor about this. How do you respond to that?
Before they take the balance oil,
Yes.
because I mean, so I would assume that they would do the same thing for their multivitamin, for their vitamin D, for any other supplement that they would take. That's so they would talk to, and there's nothing wrong with talking to your doctor about it. I think it's great. I think it's easier if you talk to your doctor and you're informed.
Oh,
Because,
exactly. Exactly.
yeah, so that
But
would be
I
my.
just said that. Go ahead.
Well, I'm just answering your question. So
Right.
your question is, if I had a client or somebody who says, "Hey, I'm interested in taking your balance oil, but I want to talk to my doctor first." I said, "Yeah, I mean, I think that's great." I said, "However, you do want to be informed when you talk to your doctor because they have a lot going on, and if you just say it's an omega-3 and you don't understand the difference between just omega-3 and something that has omega-3 with polyphenols, then they may discount it. They may not know,
Right.
because we are talking about nutrition.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I
Exactly.
would
So,
I would start there, and I don't know like if there's one specific article that I can think of that I've written or something that you could give them so that they can read it and become more informed about it, and then take
mhm.
that to their doctor.
And
Uh,
it was one of your first articles that you had written, and it told pretty much everything about the balance oil. So I actually have a lot of those on hand that I do hand to my people, my customers, my clients, and I just tell them just to take it right to the doctor and let them see it. So, and like you
yeah.
said, hopefully that's what they're doing with their other supplements. They're having that discussion with their doctor.
Yeah, and I would other things that I would share with them is, keep in mind that this is food based.
Hmm.
This is not a synthetically made supplement that's out of powders that they can make in some of these labs.
Right. I think that's very important because I always tell the people that it's fish oil. It's fish oil, and then the other ingredient, the important ingredient, is the polyphenols, and then a little bit of vitamin D. So it's definitely food based.
And just keep in mind that all doctors do not know what us nutritionists know.
Hmm.
Okay? They're not. That's not part of their training. So
Right.
it would help, also say, hey, my nutritionist recommended this for me. And I think that's a good way to approach it also. And I just wanted to show this to you because, as you know, some doctors, they're misinformed,
Hmm.
and they may make a suggestion based on nonsense.
Hmm.
It's kind of like it makes me think about the peanut allergy thing,
Yes.
because it was a group of doctors that started talking about, if you want your kid to less likely have a peanut allergy, don't feed them peanuts until they're about 3. So a whole bunch of parents did that. Now, when I was a kid, it was 0.1% of kids had a peanut allergy. 0.1%. If it wasn't 0.01%. I mean, it was like extremely rare. Now we're around 2%.
Hmm.
Like, it's like an epidemic.
Hmm.
And it was
Very
because
common.
it was because of that misinformation. Kids benefit better to be introduced to all types of foods as early as possible. Dairy, eggs, peanut butter, gluten. And when you remove that from kids, what we see is that they don't have a tolerance for it. And then they grow up later and they're living a big part of their life allergic. And we're seeing a lot of parents who have, like, they're doing keto diets and they're doing omnivore diets and they don't have certain foods in the house, or they're gluten free. And as a result, these kids are having all these stomach problems that are now teenagers in their early 20s. I mean, I'm seeing it. So introduce a variety of food to your kids as early as possible.
Yep. Best thing you can do. Yeah, it's interesting how they avoid things like that. But
okay, now, so I think I answered one of your questions. You said you had a couple.
Yeah, now I forget the other one. No, we can keep talking. It'll come to me. But yeah, it's just interesting. Some of the questions that you do get and the answers that you get, the responses, I should say. So yeah, cholesterol is a big thing. Can we talk about the other things that the balance oil is good for?
Okay.
I myself, I can speak like dry eyes. I've seen improvement with dry eyes. The blood pressure. My husband, his blood pressure has dropped drastically, and the only change he has made is the balance oil. So,
well, I mean, it's my answer to that, because it can sound almost like
too good
to be true.
Yes.
But it just goes back to, one, if you help people understand omega-6 to 3 ratios, right? What that is. So you have omega-6, which is mostly known for causing inflammation in the body when you have too much of it. But it is important because it helps with many things, especially when it's acute. But when it's chronic, then it's not a good thing, right? Then you have omega-3, which is also essential, meaning the body doesn't make it, and is known primarily for reducing inflammation in the body. And most chronic illnesses are tied to inflammation. So of course you want omega-3. But in the words of Dr. Andrew Weil or Robert Lustig or Dr. Simopoulos, who are all award-winning, highly respected physicians around the world, they all say we're not getting enough omega-3. So your local doctor, in the beautiful city of Darlington or anywhere else who doesn't get that or says something that goes against that, then they're going against Dr. Andrew Weil. They're going against Robert Lustig. They're going against Dr. Simopoulos. They're going against the National Institute of Health. They're going against the World Health Organization. They're going against the Cleveland Clinic, the Mayo Clinic. So whoever that local doctor is that is like against that, they're going against the most established organizations in the world and some of the highest, most respected physicians in the world. So,
right.
So who are you going to listen to? The local doctor who has an opinion, or are we going to listen to the people who have done the work, the data's there, the research is there, et cetera. So one, I would go there with someone. And then once they understand the importance of omega-6 to 3 ratio and they want to learn what theirs is, then they come to you and they get the test, and then they can do something about it. And one of the things that we have both seen, you and I, is how balanced oil helps people get to the green, the safe zone.
Exactly.
I mean, that's it. There's and other products that I've seen, I have not seen any other product get people to the safe zone. Nope, not even a little bit. I've seen some people take a product and they're in the yellow, which is really cool to see that. And maybe they also probably eat a good amount of fish where they're getting omega-3s, and they don't eat a lot of omega, 6 so they know to avoid seed oils.
Mm-hmm.
So it helps with so many things,
It
right?
does. It does.
It's
Right.
kind of like when you look at, like, if you look at vitamin D, if you look up what are some of the symptoms of not having enough vitamin D in the body, and then you go, okay, I have some of those symptoms. So the doctor would say, let's do a test. They do a test and they go, yeah, your vitamin D is low.
Mm-hmm.
What do I do, doc? He goes, well, I could prescribe vitamin D, D3, or you can just go and buy one. And in 4 months, we'll test you again. So then the person says, okay. And the symptoms that they had, maybe they were tired a lot, and there's many symptoms of not getting enough vitamin D3. So now that symptom is gone. And then they go and they get tested, and the doctor goes, hey, your vitamin D levels are great. Yeah, my symptoms are gone. So that's the same thing that happens with omega-3 and the ratios of omega-6 to 3. When you're not in balance, you have symptoms. It
Mm-hmm.
could be brittle nails. It could be thinning hair. It could be dry eye. It could be elevated blood pressure. It could be elevated triglycerides. It could be low levels of HDL, cholesterol, right? It could be all of these things, menstrual discomfort and pain, like my daughter used to have. Those are symptoms of not getting enough omega-3.
Mm-hmm.
So then a person goes, well, I take an omega-3. Okay. I think that's great that you're taking an omega-3. So we're going to do a test, and then that will confirm if your omega-3 is working. Because there's people, Amy, who will go and buy their vitamin D supplement, let's say at Walmart, and in 4 months, the doctor tests them again. Yeah, your vitamin D levels, they're still low. Then he's going to prescribe a vitamin D3 because the one you're taking over the counter is not working.
Not working.
So that could happen. So the test is the game changer.
It is. It's the game changer.
So
Mm-hmm. I had a gal that just recently purchased the kit, and we did the test, got it sent in. That was probably a week ago. Yeah, probably a week ago. And she called me today, and she was all excited. She thought it ended up being a dream. She thought she got a letter from the company, which they do not send a letter. And so she actually called me and asked me if I would help her go online and get a results. And this is before I knew it was actually a dream. That's how excited she is to get this results. So she's been taking a fish oil, omega-3 oil, she said 5 to 6 years. So I'm excited to get her results back too, just to see if the product that she's working, how well is it working?
Mm.
So yeah, the test is definitely a game changer.
Game changer.
Yeah.
So yes. So I would say for those of you who want to know more about what we're talking about, reach out to Amy, reach out to myself. We are here to help you. And a lot of positive things can come about once you're in balance.
Mm-hmm.
Kids think better. Less people are experiencing the negatives of autism, ADHD. Suicidal thoughts are reduced. Like there's so much that can be improved just making sure you're in balance. And I do feel it's a medical injustice that this is not common for everybody to be aware of.
I agree.
Yeah. So
I agree.
other than that, what else, Amy, before we say goodbye to these beautiful people? Because I know you're in the challenge too, so you're making it happen.
I'm in the challenge. Yeah, I was going to speak about that right after you got done talking about when you did your opening. I'm enjoying it. I have been toning up. My body fat percentage is going down, so that's wonderful. Yeah, I'm very happy with it. So thank you for all the work that you have put into it. And I
All right.
agree. If people want to join, it's not too late to join. You can start from day one, and we're definitely here to help everybody out if needed, and join in.
Amen, everybody. You heard it right there. And again, if you want to reach out to Amy, you guys, if you look in the description, you'll see her website. You can contact her there.
And you froze up, Robert.
Here. Did we go out for a second?
Yep, you froze up. You're back.
What was that about? Somebody's listening in. They're like, hey, you guys are talking about some. No, I just wanted to say, I hope you have a good weekend, Amy.
Well, thank you. You too.
Okay. Any last words you want to share with those who are listening in?
If you're interested, you have any questions, just reach out to myself or Robert. We're definitely here to help and get everybody on their way to being balanced.
Okay. You heard it right there, you guys. Thank you again, Amy. I'm Robert Ferguson, and this is Diet Free Life, and our goal is to share because we care. Right, Amy?
That's right. That's right.
Fine. So everybody in Darlington, if you're catching this, make sure you guys give Amy a shout out because she's representing that beautiful city, and hopefully we'll be there soon.
Yes,
so
hopefully.
You and I should talk.
Yep.
Because I would like to say.
Okay, we'll talk and get a date set up.
Sandy, let's get a good crew to come in for a retreat. I think it's time.
Yes. Okay, we'll talk and get that set up.
All right, you guys. We're out of here. Until the next one, share the good news over the Diet Blues. This is Robert Ferguson and Amy Prime.
Thank you.
Gotta go. We got things to do. Peace out.
Peace out.
Life is a new way to see. No more counting calories, just living free. Robert Ferguson's got the plan you need. With Diet Free Life, it's the key. No more starving, getting rid of inflammation. Choosing healthy choices, providing you with sound information. Bringing balance to hormones and insulin through food. With the DFL, teaching you food choices to see you through. DFL.